What qualifies for a good trip? Is it the journey? Is it the destination? Or is it spending time with friends that make it fun the whole time? When I add my job on top of that, it neatly describes my life. So is it possible to work and have fun at the same time? Keep watching and later tell me what you think. I have been privileged to work on some of the state events in Kenya, and I get to see the president and his deputy a few times a month. Not that I know him personally. Let's just say my team and I are not total strangers to the president. So the last week of February, after concluding one event in rural Murang'a County, we drove to Mombasa to spend the night and departed from Mpeketoni town in Lamu County on Saturday morning, where the Kenyan President William Ruto was scheduled to have a mass service with the community the following day. When you're presented with alternative routes where one is shorter than the other, which one do you choose? If you said the shorter route, you're wrong, and you need to subscribe to this channel because you know nothing about travel. You always take the most scenic route.
Wicked is the price. Why'd you run and hide? You can come inside. You're screaming my name. We're lost in the haze. Baby,
that's partly why we chose the Nairobi to Mombasa and then to Mpeketoni town rather than the shorter, thicker Garissa and then Mpeketoni. You also get to see the protected Arabuko-Sokoke coastal forest between Kilifi and Malindi. Along the way, we encountered more than a few roadblocks and military patrol vehicles, a sign that there are concentrated efforts from the Kenyan government to maintain sanity in that part of Kenya.
Nakimbia hapa nini Mpeketoni. Niweke gari hapo fungue buti. Nataka kuona buti kidogo. Sawa, mtani kufungulia. Hii si lazima sasa uwatch Kenya una shoot.
Media gani hiyo?
Hii tuna ya state tu.
Ya state? State media. We. Nyinyi ndio akina gatete joroge
hao ni wengine.
There have been a few insecurity incidents raising national concern, but that's a story for another channel. On top of that, we were also driving very fast to beat the curfew to enter the town. No trucks or cars are allowed in and out of the region past 5 or 6 p.m. Let me know in the comments. The security, as expected, was top-notch when we arrived at the venue for the setup. Spot checks and identification was mandatory. I never get annoyed at this because I also know it's for my own safety. The following day, Sunday, everything was in place and we began the mass service immediately. The president and his deputy arrived at around 9:30 a.m. Of course, whenever the president is, you expect to find a few high-profile individuals and VIPs in his entourage. To the locals, seeing the faces they only get to see on TV excited them even more. The job went through without a hitch, and as soon as we had sat down and packed our cameras, vision mixers, wireless transmitters, and all vital gear that go with it, we were ready to go. But remember what I told you about the curfew? That you could not leave and enter the town past a certain time? Well, we couldn't risk it. So we decided to spend the second night in Mpeketoni. And that meant we had a little bit of time to kill. So we decided to visit Lamu Island. Hands down, this was the most exciting decision I had made in the past few weeks. I couldn't wait to see the UNESCO World Heritage Site until we arrived at Mokowe and saw the small boats supposed to take us for the rest of the journey. First of all, the way the boats were rocking from side to side, up and down, it reminded me of a traumatizing event in Lake Naivasha when we went there for a photo shoot for a model from Pakistan. The waters became more violent by the minute, but we needed those shots because the crew was supposed to be leaving for Pakistan the following day. We risked getting on the boats almost at dusk, but we quickly agreed that our lives matter more than the perfect shot, and so we headed back fast to safer grounds. And now this. Small and very shaky, and I thought there was no way I was getting on that boat.
Goddamn, where the life jackets?
I really contemplating staying behind and waiting for my friends when they get back, but I thought to myself, everyone in Lamu Island must be using these boats. So am I an exception? so I parted with only 250 shillings for a 3 to 5 minute ride to get to the other side.
This is paradise.
Yo! The boat stabilized soon as he powered the engine and started speeding. It was exhilarating. It's one of those experiences you absolutely love, but you don't want to go back to. We had our lunch there, and afterwards I was anxious to walk through the narrow streets filled with the most beautiful faces and friendly locals.
Children used to run and play. Look at all the mess we made.
Lamu Island is a town that has deliberately remained unurbanized, and it was great to see preservation of the ancient architecture firsthand. It has donkeys as the main mode of transport, a few motorbikes, and I think I only saw 2 cars. Lamu Island buildings resemble some parts of Europe and the Arab world. Most of the parts are paved, and it is generally a very clean town. When you look at the pictures and watch the videos of Lamu Island, what you don't get to experience is the musky smell of donkey poop in some areas. But that's nothing. What do you expect when you have donkeys? I would rather deal with that any day than the effects of long-term carbon emissions anyway. I will sure be back to Lamu Island because that was a rushed visit. A rushed visit, but it will forever be engraved in my mind. So we checked out the hotel the following day to go back to the capital, and as we neared Malindi, we heard Vasco da Gama calling us. And we obeyed. And that's another unplanned random move. So what you need to know about Malindi is that the main attraction is the long, beautiful white sandy beaches and warm tropical waters. The hotels there offer a wide range of water sports from windsurfing to paddle boating and snorkeling. But we had no time for that. We only had time for lunch and responding to Vasco da Gama. I didn't even have my camera ready to record the drives we did around the town to show you how almost similar it is to Lamu Island in terms of structure and design. We headed straight to the Vasco da Gama Pillar, which is a historical monument named after the Portuguese who built it, named, guess it? Vasco da Gama. It is one of the oldest European monuments in Africa, having been built in 1498. It was a place of prayer and also burying the dead. It could be the most prominent physical reminder of the Portuguese influence in Kenya.
I see fire burning, but I'm fine.
Well, I asked earlier what qualifies for a successful trip. I think spontaneity. Nothing we did was planned at all. That made it even more exciting and memorable. So the takeaway for this video for you is number 1, always take the most scenic route, and number 2, always remain unpredictable. It's worth it. Subscribe.